Hi everyone, I am Anand. I am a staff engineer at InMobi and we are a part of Central Data Platform team. We build AI and data solutions for rest of the InMobi. So a quick context about what scale InMobi operates on. InMobi is a global ad tech company. We reach to over 2 billion people serving 250 billion ad requests every day. And we ingest close to 240 terabytes of data every day. Glance, which is a AI commerce subsidiary, it is currently live in 140 plus countries. So the scale is important to know because at this scale we are solving the problem of governance. Let me deep dive into the problems which we faced. This was our reality. There were 8 places at which we had to maintain governance for different user groups. With the advent of AI, the old question, who sees what, became a priority. We had to solve this so that we could enable our agentic use cases on top of the data, which is exposed across multiple touchpoints. Be it any AI dashboard, be it any warehouse, or be it a ad hoc SQL interface, notebooks, Excel sheets. We had to maintain the governance across all of these places. And imagine now if someone changes one team to another, how to replicate the access across all of these touch points. Multiple touch points means multiple stakeholders. We couldn't bring all that data or all that governance at a central place. So our goal was to have a unified state. But because of the distribution of policies across different places, we were unable to get there. We were paying 3 costs. One was the audit risk. When anybody asks us question that who accessed what data, it took us days for us to answer because it has to be scattered across multiple places. Our policies were drifted and because of that our velocity also increased. Our business was getting stalled as we couldn't release a dashboard within a given time. It took us weeks for us to release a dashboard to ensure that in that dashboard who have access to what type of data. And with the AI exposure, if we plug on any Genie or any AI agent on top of that, we will never know that what data it surfaces up. So these were the 3 bets which we did. My talk is all about all these 3 bets. First, views. We exposed all our data via views. We ensured nobody have access to the tables. Why? Why views? Because views served as a contract between what we expose to our consumers. Any table which data has to be exposed, via view we were able to control which columns get exposed. If there are any columns which are relevant for data pipeline, then those can remain hidden. Another thing which is also helped is it abstracted any joins which has to be done and that doesn't need consumers to know about it. Policies as data. Our policies are not any config or any vendor provided solution. Our policies reside in a table which could be queried by any person, which stays at one single place, which doesn't need any front-end information, and it remains a source of truth for any audit related queries as well. Third bet, identity propagates. From any front-end to back-end, we ensure the user who is consuming the data, his or her identity gets propagated till the very end. How we did that is something we'll deep dive on. So what we solved is a standard. It's a NIST standard and it's called attribute based access model. When we initiated to solve this problem, we only focused on how to solve it for our use case. But when we arrived, we later realized it actually converges to a real standard. The standard has 4 components. One is policy administration, basically where we define what is the policy definition. Second, policy information, where we store the policy. Third, policy decision, where the policy gets computed. And fourth is policy enforcement, how the policy gets enforced on the data assets. This is how it actually reflects in our implementation. So on the left you see the writer path, on the right you see the reader path. On the left it is an admin UI for the domain teams who can now control and define what policies has to be defined for a given data set. And it writes to the mapping tables. So these mapping tables are the ones which are actually our policy information tables. So these tables will be the source of truth during the reader flow. On the reader flow, you have Unity Catalog, which is our policy enforcement where the policy gets computed. And Unity Catalog invokes the row level security and column level security functions, which during runtime refers to the same mapping tables which are written during the write flow. I'll come to the reconciliation job in the next slide. So now imagine an end-to-end flow where user is interacting with a dashboard, or maybe it is asking a query from Genie. Be it any interface, the flow remains the same. Step 1, where user logs in or fires any query. In that case, the user's identity is fetched. That user identity is then mapped with the Databricks OAuth token. That token reflects user identity. It is not any service principal, it is the user's identity which is getting tracked. That user identity flows to the catalog. Catalog does the role of getting the right view to which user have access. As I clearly previously mentioned that we don't provide access to tables, it is only the views to which we provide access. So catalog does that part. RLS module, RLS functions figure out for that particular user, for the given view, which rows are accessible, and only those rows are filtered and sent back. CLS module takes care of which columns are accessible by the user. So now if it is a dashboard, if it is a notebook, or if it is any ad hoc SQL interface, or even if it is a Genie, the front end doesn't take any control of what the Unity Catalog, RLS, CLS modules are doing, because those are reading information from the policy store and not from front end as against to previous problems. This is how we have implemented row layer security. It has 3 components to it. First is the mapping table. The mapping table has a row discriminator. So the first column, user email ID, was our row discriminator in one of the use case. It can be any row discriminator which you can think, in which your rows has to be accessed by the end user. The division and cost owner, these columns are attributes. Attributes on which the rows has to be discriminated against. So this mapping table is used, so this mapping table is written during the writer flow, and it gets used in the reader flow, which is a row filter function. So in row filter function, it is referring to the mapping table, it is checking the user email ID with the current user, and it is then filtering the data according to the attribute which is mentioned. So I have listed there whitelist and blacklist in both ways how that can be implemented. Null means no restriction here at all. So you are free to configure the row level access in whichever way you want, whether it should be a whitelist, it should be a blacklist, or it shouldn't have any filtration at all. The third part, the binding part, is where you attach that row level filter to the underlying table. And here I want to highlight that this gets attached at a table level. So now your user is exposed with the view, but your policies are attached at a table. So that also abstracts the implementation detail. Your users need not know what are your implementation details. Similarly, on the column security front. So for column security, so these are the roles, and for the corresponding tables which columns need to be masked. So this mapping table is then referred by the mask field, which is the runtime function. So that runtime function takes care of user belonging to which role and which column to be masked. So as we can rightly see, for any example, analyst, any PA prod admin, that role, if any user is part of PA prod admins, then that column has to be returned as null. Again, the binding part. Binding part is something which gets again attached to the table. Now I will talk about the reconciliation job. So all the alter statements which we saw on the bottom, those are part of our reconciliation job. Your mapping tables are the source of truth for enforcing these policies. Any binding which has to be done on the table are fetched from the mapping table, and there is a hourly job which fetches all this policy and mentions the desired state which has to be applicable across all the tables. There were two options, either it could be an event driven system or it could be a reconciliation job. Event driven system has its own disadvantages, where you could also need to do a retry if the event is not handled correctly. So we stick to the reconciliation job. This is actually a Kubernetes model where you just define the end state, and even if in between somebody alters or changes any permission, then it doesn't impact the end state. When we implemented this, we also wanted to enable superset as our stack. But superset didn't have the capability where it could pass through the user information using Databricks OAuth. Power BI did, and so we fixed superset. We implemented user credential pass through in superset, and we contributed it back, and this is the PR link for that. If anybody wants to use superset for their use case using Databricks OAuth, they can use this PR, which is available on superset's Git repo. These are our impact. These are the numbers from our production. Across different use cases, sales, finance, people analytics, which is HR analytics, we have multiple dashboards which are live. The numbers have gone beyond this. We have many folks, hundreds of folks who are leveraging this, and we have across multiple teams, this is currently live. One thing which mattered most to onboard any analyst or any analyst team, it earlier used to take weeks to give them these touch points across different data sets. But now it is just a matter of one single insert. When we onboarded our Genie or any agentic use case, we were surprised to see that we didn't have to implement anything on the governance front. It was already taken care of. Genie, only we had to configure on the Genie spaces, provide the metrics view, but on the governance front, because it was attached to the corresponding tables, the policies were getting added to that. This was the takeaway message which I wanted to give. Put your policies into a table and let your user credentials flow from any interface to the catalog. That's about it. Thank you guys. Thank you for attending.